So there's a troop deployment, but the one that Americans approve. You know, when we talk about taking care of our homeland, there was a troop deployment, and it's right where we wanted it, at the U.S. border. We'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about Trump being as successful as he's been. Really, in the first 100 hours, if he spanned all this that he's already done just in a typical term for a president, you would consider him a successful president. What he's done in the matter of 100 hours in a few days, and the work he's accomplished, and really the fact of how much money he saved for the American people, is mind-blowing. Also, we're going to talk about the Hedge-Seth confirmation. It took J.D. Vance, because you have 3 weak Republicans that are rhinos. Actually, you probably have more than that. But actually, what you're going to see is a harder confirmation for RFK and for Tulsi. We'll discuss that, and then we'll discuss our sicknesses. You don't believe we need someone like an RFK or someone who's wanting to change the way our food system is? Let's go over some of the medical issues we've had just in the last few years. It's mind-blowing. We'll go over these stories and a few more. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Today we're going to talk about several things like we talked about in the intro, and then we're going to talk about one of the most dangerous men, I think, in the world. And sadly, he's getting to be friends with Republicans and Democrats, but I do believe that he proposes a huge threat, and we'll discuss him as well. Now, before we get into the stories of the day, remember to follow us on Twitter. We're sharing content all the time over there. My handle is @TheColbyMac. Check it out. Also, remember my other channel, Life with Colby Mac. It's I think we're on our 10th or 11th video we released today, and it's just basically my life behind the scenes. And so you'll see how we live the sustainable life, what we do with our family. You'll see my children, my wife. And so it gives you a glimpse into my life. So please go check that video out and subscribe to that channel. We do a giveaway here and on that channel. So check it out. Now let's jump into these stories because they are opening. And really, you're also seeing the success and the meltdown of a fact of what a successful president looks like. Trump in the first 100 hours has done things that is just unbelievable. Pardoning of the pro-life people. Do you realize Trump has done more for the pro-life movement? More for the pro-life movement than every president before him. He literally put people on the bench that overturned Roe v. Wade. He's pardoned all these people, these pro-life, these 12 to 13 people yesterday that should have never been taken advantage of and put in jail for praying. Again, a 75-year-old lady literally in a wheelchair they put in jail. Literally, one story was a guy who was trying to take his 2 or 3 kids to school while the other 3 or 4 were inside, and he was held at gunpoint, all for praying at a clinic. Biden's administration, Merrick Garland, all those guys, it's so sad. They should be prosecuted to the biggest extent of the law for what they did to the American people. But if not, I hope they repent of what they've done. Because I tell you what, when you start hearing those stories of those 12 or 13 people that Trump just pardoned, it'll break your heart. So don't tell me that Trump is not looking out for Americans. You know, like Russ Albright, that's a big deal. And yes, the J6, that's a big deal. But this pro-life pardons are huge. And I think that proved that he is the president for Americans right now. Now, yesterday he went to North Carolina, went to California, and man, made some waves in California. I mean, dropped some bombs, dude. I'm telling you, he was on it. What he has proved with, just like yesterday, this man, he is 78 years old. I think he said he woke up around 3 to 4, did an interview, got on a plane, went to North Carolina, flew across the country to California, got back into Washington last night at 1 a.m., and was still talking to the press. Now, that's pretty impressive. I don't think Joe could have done that. I mean, Kamala can't even speak. So I think that we got the best end of this deal. So he's done more in the first 100 hours. Think about all the pardons. Think about all the promises he's made and all the ones he's kept. Martin Fall shared this, and I thought this was a very good statement. He said, forget the 100-day test. Trump has reshaped America in his first 100 hours. Trump blitzed through the first 100 hours like a president, like no president before him. Executive orders flying off the desk. Trump's rapid-fire approach shattered the traditions of a slow presidential moving and start, delivering campaign promises after campaign promises at lightning speed. Promises made, promises kept. I think it's huge. His impact has been immediate and impossible to ignore, ushering in a golden age of America at a crazy speed. Trump has rewritten the playbook of the Oval Office power, and he is just getting started. And I'm anxious to see exactly what he's going to do because it's blowing my mind. One main thing he said yesterday, and all these Democrats, all these liberals, Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, Adam Schiff, who is a complete and utter failure, they all were saying Trump's all lying about this water. Trump's lying about this water. There's no water in California that we are rerouting. Well, I told you before, he said that months ago. He said that this is going to be a problem. He said this actually years ago. But here's a story that Chamath shared from All In Podcast. I don't know if y'all know Chamath. I've loved listening to him, and he's actually come around to being a brilliant guy. Not only that, he's woken up to the dangers of a liberal ideology. He said POTUS was right. Snowmelt from the Sierra Nevadas in rainfall sent almost 30 million cubic acres of water into the Sacramento River Delta over the past 15 months. So in 15 months, they got 30 million cubic acres of rainfall in water. Now remember, they tell you that California is dry and drought tolerant and bad in the lower areas. It's not true. It's the rerouting of water. Listen to this. Of this, only 23% of the productive use go to farmlands, irrigations, and homes. So of that 30 million cubic acres of water that is naturally flowing to these regions, 23% actually goes to it. A staggering 77% is sent out to the ocean. The multi-year drought affecting most of California is completely and utterly man-made. California under Gavin Newsom is full of some of the dumbest, destructive policies imaginable. I mean, and you can go and look at this. This was a study done from 23 to 25, and he shared it on here about how the rerouting of water because of certain environmental qualities and regulations has made for drier climates in the southern part of California, and also some of the places where they grow as much farmland and food for America. And it's all because liberal ideology. That's what Trump called them out last night at this press conference. Ben Sherman, Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom. And he laid it down. Again, sharpness, toughness, strength through power. He's nailing it. And I think people are starting to wake up. Not only just the middle and the populist and the MAGA. I'm talking about, I think the liberals and leftists are saying, like, how can we say that what he says is wrong? I mean, here's the truth. Chamath is a San Francisco, Silicon Valley guy who, like he said, it's like I had an epiphany because it's like I finally woke up to the fact that this man is working for us and doing great things. That is true leadership because he's proven what he's doing. Now, California just put a measure on the bill. They want to succeed from the nation. Hey, look, I'm totally for that. But if not, then you need to get your junk together and start coming back to realizing that the problems with the drought, the problems with all those wildfires, the problems with all the damage, it's always caused by bad policy, and this proves it. Now let's jump on to Pete Hegseth. Now, J.D. Vance, again, to me what this proved last night was two things. Mike Pence was a terrible VP. I think he's just like every other establishment politician. What's so funny is Trump had Pence on the ticket for 2020 and lost. Came back, now he's stronger than ever and got a better VP. For instance, last night, the VP had to actually make the vote to confirm Pete Hegseth because of leaders like McConnell, I say leaders, complete and utter failures like McConnell, Murkowski, and Collins. Now remember, they voted. I want to read you this. Now, Pete Hegseth literally got in by 5150 because of the deciding vote by the VP, Vance. I want you to listen to the difference in establishment versus non-establishment. Lloyd Austin was confirmed by 93 senators. That means Democrats and Republicans. Mark Esper, 90, was confirmed by 90 senators. James Mattis, 98 senators. Ashton Carter, 93 senators. Leon Panetta, 100-0 over the CIA and Department of Defense. Robert Gates, 95. Pete Hegseth, 50-50. Now you tell me Trump's not doing something when all of a sudden the people that he wants in, the people that want his way forward against the establishment, they're not getting the votes. Either side. So it shows how bad the swamp is. And here's my problem, and here's my major warning. This was this hard to get a conservative Christian in who was against the system. Think how hard it's going to be to get RFK and to get Tulsi Gabbard. It's going to be an uphill battle. And I think Trump needs to hold the pressure to these conservatives, Trump needs to hold the pressure to these rhinos. And here's what I'd say. Trump needs to call them out by name that he's going to primary them. I know Trump's not done that lately, especially on the Republican side. He's really aimed towards the Democrats. And I'd say, yes, that's what you need to do. But there needs to be some major pressure, not only on these senators, it needs to be on the leadership in the Senate. It needs to be on Thune, Scott, and several other ones who are quote-unquote leaders of the Senate. And say, look, your job is going to be just as vulnerable if all of a sudden my people don't get in. I'm serious. This is where Trump needs to throw those cards out and say it to the American people and bring up the people that he would rather have in there and primary every one of them. Like McConnell, I mean, dude, what does he do? And he's killing his legacy. And it's sad because the people of Kentucky deserve better. I mean, you got Rand Paul and Thomas Massie. How awesome is that? And you got McConnell, who is literally throwing shade on Trump's people. It's ridiculous. And this goes right into the story of why RFK needs to be put into power, especially for the FDA and USDA and the HHS. I want you to listen to this. What has changed in the last 30 years? This was shared by Jack Posobiec and his wife. It says diseases and disorders since 1990. Since 1990 now. I was born in 87. I'm still considered a pretty young guy. Disease or disorder increase since 1990. I want you to listen to this. ADHD, 819% up. Alzheimer's, 299% up. Autism, 2,094% up. Bipolar disorder, 10,833 up. Celiac disease, stomach issues, 1,000%. Chronic fatigue, 11,000%. Depression, 280%. Diabetes, 305%. Fibromyalgia or problems that nobody can state, 7,200%. Hypothyroidism, 702%. Lupus, 780%. Osteoarthritis, 449%. Sleep apnea, 400%. Asthma, 400%. Autoimmune disorders, general overall, 1,600%. Food allergies in children, 377%. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, 535%. Tell me, and that was a lot of numbers. Every one of them are putting you on more medicine and taking away from your really healthy life. You know why? Because the trash in our diets. Because the way we've been taught that this medicine is going to fix everything instead of actually having a good diet, exercise, being going outside and letting your kids play instead of sitting around a TV or a digital device all the time. Look at those numbers are staggering. You know why that's important? Because how does the Food and Drug Administration work together? Help me understand that just for a second. The reason they go together because it's hand in hand. Trash food makes for more medicine. Instead, what I would say as a regenerative farmer, as someone who is sustainable, who is literally sitting in one of his pantries, clean food helps not have inflammation, helps not have sickness, and allows you to be healthier. It's that easy. What has pharmacology done for us? Truly, what has it done for us? Has it really given us more life? Now, you could say in some cases it might have. What it's actually done, though, is put us more dependent on a system because of a broken food system. That's why it's of the utmost importance to get RFK in. And to be honest with you, I think, honestly, that's why he is going to be the hardest one to get in, because his stances on breaking down these barriers when it comes to food and medicine tied together. It's amazing that some of the biggest pesticides and herbicide companies are the biggest cancer drug companies. That doesn't make sense at all, does it? Last two stories, and we're going to wrap it up. Valuetainment and Media shared this. He says, guess what? Operation Northwoods was not a theory. It was the truth. Now, what that said was this. Declassified CIA documents, and again, this is because Trump declassified just the last few days, revealed that in the 1960s, the U.S. military planned terror on American soil to justify the war with Cuba in the 1960s. That's what that operation was. Now, that's shocking. You're like, oh, that's the 60s, Colby. Things have changed. Our establishment and our deep state and our military has gotten even bigger. The complex, the value of really what value they give to us has gotten a lot bigger. Defense contractors, lobbyists. You don't think they're still doing things like Operation Northwoods now, to where they're causing more panic and problems in our cities and in our on American soil, so they can justify something later on? Kind of makes you think about September of crazy. Read into Operation Northwoods; it'll blow your mind. And you know that's why it's so important to see what Trump just did with the deployment of Marines. He didn't deploy them to Ukraine. He didn't deploy them to Europe. He didn't deploy them anywhere. You know what he did? He sent troops to the border. He sent the Army Corps of Engineers and a group of military deployment to North Carolina to learn how to rebuild bridges and to reroute the water, to help the people in North Carolina, to secure the border. He said, I will have upwards of 10,000 people, if needed, at the border to deploy. He also has put flights up in the air so he could deport. Now, there was a story that Mexico wouldn't accept them. Mexico took 4 yesterday. So whatever leverage or negotiation happened, Trump did it and put them on the ground. Promises made, promises kept. Now, last story I want to bring up, and I want to say is, I honestly believe he's probably the most dangerous man in the world. And I know that he just kind of praised Trump the other day. I think it's all just a scam. I want you to listen to what the OpenAI and creator of artificial intelligence, and really a guy who has a bunker around the world to where he's away from America. I think that's even crazier. But listen to this. Sam Altman come out and said advancing AI may require, listen to this, this is scary, changes to the social contract. The entire structure of society will be up for debate and reconfiguration once we need and see AI coming to fruition. That is a big statement. And what that is saying is the way your freedoms are done, the way you have regulation, the way you believe that the computers work for you and help you, all that's changing. And what we're going to see is a restructuring to where society needs computers more than computers. Society will only live because of what AI does for them. And no matter what it takes, if it takes surveilling you or getting more information of yours or pretty much putting you in a police state, doesn't matter. We're going to have to recreate society. Now, he's snaked his way into Republican and Democrat circles. This man has become a uber rich man, all because of AI. If you want to see something, this is where the David Sacks, the Elon Musk, even the Zuckerbergs, some other brilliant tech Silicon Valley men, especially if they're in the Republican stratosphere, Trump, to where they say, you know, we're not going to allow one person to have power of AI. Now, Elon Musk has been pretty critical of Sam Altman, even after the fact of him going to the White House and all this. Elon Musk has kind of called him out. This man is the most dangerous man because he has the power of surveillance, and he has now maybe the ear of one of the biggest players in Oracle and the president. Oracle's ties to CIA is dangerous, and he's saying that we need to recreate society based on AI. That could put us into where we think we're free, and we lose everything that we've worked so hard for in America. Again, I told you before, ChatGPT remade itself and reprogrammed itself and recoded itself when it thought it was getting shut down for a newer version. AI could be the demise of so much in America. Now, could it do good things? Could it, cure cancer? Chamath, I was telling you yesterday, if you listen to him on the Tucker Carlson feed, he's got a new innovation where it's going to make it where breast cancer awareness is going to be quicker. It's going to be better for surgery and better for women. That's great. In a perfect world, AI would work to benefit Americans. But sadly, we live in an evil, fallen world with a bunch of sinners and a bunch of people who have a God problem and has a God complex. So even though things could be for the good and made for the good, it can be used for a bigger evil. We have to pay attention to this man right here, because I do believe he could be the most dangerous man in the world. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Great things are happening, but we cannot take our eyes off of some of the things that we need to prepare for. Trump is, man, the promises he's made, he's keeping. J6, the pro-life, I mean, the fact of even Albright to the libertarians, he's doing phenomenal things. I mean, and naming names like Bank of America yesterday, calling Davos out, saying America will thrive. There's a new story. He cut funding off. Marco Rubio, go back and look. They said they were suspended funding to Ukraine. That's a game changer. Also, there was a story that Denmark is absolutely frantic and in crisis mode over Trump's conversation with them over Greenland. Strong leaders change the world. And especially if strong leaders find wisdom and common sense, and not only that, a provision, especially in a godly way, looking towards things to change for the good, we could see awakening and revival in our nation, which is what we need. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless.